Well, hello and happy birthday, America! Welcome to the Inga Barks Show here on Kerncast at the beautiful Bakersfield Music Hall of Fame. Where when I walked in today, I've got a theory. And I'm totally willing to be wrong about this. We'll have to get Doctor on to ask him. But is it possible that all this getting out of a freezing cold car and going into the heat and then getting back into a freezing cold car and then out in the heat can give you a cold? Is it possible? I don't know. I'm just saying that I have a cold, and it just started. I also have discovered, and Goose, this is frightening. I've discovered that there is a transient of some sort living under my bed.
You have monsters under your bed?
No, I think it's a transient. I think it's like a person who snuck in. I know this because they keep waking me up snoring, and somebody's in my bedroom. That's all I know. I'll wake up to what? So I know it must be the transient in my room. Work with me on this, will you?
I'm right there with you.
Looking forward to 4th of July?
I suffer from severe sleep apnea.
Oh, you do?
So I snore very loud if I don't have my machine on.
Oh, your poor wife. And it's got to be horrible to sleep with a machine on your head.
It takes some getting used to.
Yeah.
Luckily I've been doing it for about 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty used to it by now. But now my wife is the one that's snoring and I just laugh.
Aha! Yeah, well, how the worm has turned. Well, good stuff. Anyway, for your viewing pleasure today, as if my face weren't enough, I've got my little American, United States of America earrings on. I have, just a red bracelet. I have American, really, really cool bracelet and ring, but I can't find them, so there you go. So I'm just in red, and then, here, this is I don't know where this came from. I mean, I know where it came from, but I don't know what branch of the such and such it is, because it's too small for me to see. I tried to take a picture of it and enlarge it, and I still couldn't see what it is, but it's either U.S. Marshal or Secret Service. One or the other. I have a pen that somebody gave me. And no, I didn't have to work for it. All right. Well, I do welcome you today. I look forward to tomorrow. I hope if you're a fireworks person that you find a fireworks booth. Understand that all of these booths are places that are raising money, and sometimes it's the biggest fundraiser they have the entire year for a church group, for a service organization, for nonprofits of various kinds, for school bands, and it's a really big deal for them. Now, I'm not a fireworks person, and I'm poor, but Sunday, what I did was I went to the store and I bought a few food items with cash, and then I had like $10 change. And I was driving by the Laurel Glen fireworks booth at Laurel Glen Church, and it said, "Send a kid to camp." And I pulled in. I said, "I don't want any fireworks, and I only have $10, but I want to send a kid to camp." And so that's what I did. I'm not going to buy fireworks. It's not my thing. But I fully, absolutely, 100% support you buying them and being as pyrotechnic as you want to be. It's already begun in my neighborhood. I don't know about yours, but actually, it's almost all year round in my neighborhood, the fireworks, I got to say. So it's pretty exciting time, because now they can do it, out without hiding. So whether you're a fireworks person or not, if you know of a certain service organization or nonprofit that's selling fireworks for their fundraisers, what the heck? Stop by and just slap down a couple bucks. I just gave them what I had. And the lady looked at me strangely. She did. She was like, "Why are you, what?" I said, "I don't want fireworks. I just want to give you some money." She took it.
Those are called donations.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that's what it was a donation. Yeah. And now I'm broke. So that's annoying to me. Oh, for drinking pleasure today, wasn't so broke I couldn't afford a 32-ounce the Diet Pepsi with lemonade in it. That's going to keep me up all night. What?
You have an interesting comment. Molly says she has a transient on her couch.
Oh, and they're snoring? Are they snoring, Molly?
I think those are called teenagers.
My transient just came home on Sunday. Solomon, he's been gone for like 5 weeks, and he just came home the other day, and it's been great. It's so weird. Ever since he's been home, the thermostat seems to be going down in terms of the temperature, I keep finding it at 77. and I'm freezing. But it is so miserable outside. So miserable outside. I'm glad I don't have pets because I'd feel really guilty if I left them out. Do you have pets?
Yes, I have 2 cats and 2 dogs.
Oh, well, cats are on their own.
Yeah, they pretty much are.
Cats will always find a place. Yeah. But what are you going to bring the dogs in for 4th of July?
Yeah, we'll pretty much bring them in.
Put them in the garage or something. But
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I put Lukester, my dog, my former dog, my ex-dog, in the laundry room, and he just shredded the place, so, with anxiety. So there you go. It is what it is. Anyway, I hope you enjoy your 4th of July with family and friends and frivolity and fireworks. And I look forward to talking to you today. We won't be here tomorrow, but we will be here on Thursday. So that's fantastic.
Well, we will. Well, you won't be here.
You'll be here.
I'll be here.
Yeah, I won't be here. I won't be here. I'll be sleeping somewhere.
And for all those who want to know why I will be here, go to the Kerncast page on Facebook.
There you go. Go to the Kerncast page on the page. We've offered up the month of July for anybody who wants to do a 15-minute, half hour, 45 minutes, hour long. Free for all, basically, an open mic. And so you can go to the Kerncast page and email, or what do you call? Why do they have to be called something other than email? People will say to me, I'll say, can you email it to me? And they'll go, what's your address? I'll be like, I'm Facebook. Oh, you mean you mean message you? It looks like an email to me. You type in who, you type in subject, you type a letter. They're all the same to me. So anyway, California, by the way, folks, you should be feeling pretty good about this. We are number 44 out of 50, according to Wallet Hub. 44 out of 50 in patriotic states. Yeah, they based it on military activity and voting. And I think of us as pretty heavy military. You know, you get military all over the state, but apparently it's not enough. We only beat here's who we beat: Connecticut, New York, Illinois, Rhode Island, New Jersey, and Massachusetts. The only one of those that surprises me would be Massachusetts, because isn't that like Boston is in Massachusetts, right? Isn't that where like 1F by 2 or 2F by C or whatever it was called? Isn't that the Paul Revere thing? You would think they'd be a little bit more, but they're at the bottom. They are the 50th most patriotic state in the Union. And we lose to places like Hawaii. We lose to, I can see how we could lose to a lot of the other states. But anyway, 44 out of 50, according to their survey. They used the U.S. Census as well as military activity and voter activity. And here we are. If you take this poll, or if you take this research on its face, if you accept it, here we are, number 44 out of 50 in terms of patriotism, and yet somehow we have the privilege of leading the rest of the country on policy, on law, on what the Constitution says? You've got to be kidding me. California leads the way, and we don't even like our own country? Not we, you and I love it to death, but you understand what I'm saying. I think that's really, really sad. And I know that there are very arrogant Californians who would say that we, as California goes, so goes the rest of the country. And I wish that weren't true, and I hope that it becomes less and less true, because not only are we 44 out of 50 in terms of patriotism, but I've got a couple of stories about what our environmental policy is doing to impoverished people. I've got a story about what all that wonderful progressiveness has affected, how it has affected cities whose income comes from conventions that don't want to be there anymore. So we've got a lot to go through today. I do want to acknowledge our new fire chief. Bakersfield got a new fire chief. His name is Galagaza. Sounds like a party. Sounds like a party with the Palestinians. Gala Gaza. But I kid. But there are no such thing as Palestinians, so that works out well. But anyway, welcome him to the game. I don't know what his position on fireworks are going to be. I know the last chief was very strict on fireworks. He wanted an all-out ban, which put Boy Scouts out of business. I mean, it was going to put church groups. It was going to hurt people. And I never met the prior chief, the previous chief, but I called for his retirement a long time ago because I don't think it's American. I just don't. And you can go to the nicest of nice neighborhoods and you will still find people firing off illegal fireworks. They just do. And if there's a fire, I'm very sad. If there isn't, it's the smell of America to me. That's a smell of liberty. So I'm, as long as nobody's house catches on fire, I'm in favor. My boys, we used to go every summer. Well, when I was growing up, we went every summer to the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State. And we would spend a couple of months there while my dad fished. And it was a rainforest. It's a rainforest. Goose, did I mention it's a rainforest? They call it a tempered rainforest. I'm not sure what that means. But it's the only one in the northern United States. Okay, North America. It's a rainforest. And where the Quileute Indians live, which is where Josh... I think his name was Josh on the Twilight movies. He lived in La Push. He was the one that turned into a wolf, I guess, and the vampire kid lived in Forks. And that's where I spent my summers. And the Quileute Indians up there, they have fireworks all year round. Reservations do fireworks all year round. One of my sons, now remember, I've been going to this place my entire life. One of my sons, while visiting my parents up there did I mention it was a rainforest?
Yes.
Managed to catch the forest on fire. Just a little bit of it. It's really just a campground area.
Can I say the joke?
What's the joke?
And where was the rain when this fire started?
I don't get it. No, but to me, it's funny. He didn't get in trouble. It was an accident. It was absolutely an accident. But of all of the people in the whole world that have gone to La Push during the 4th of July holiday that would set a rainforest ablaze, my kid, he meant well. I also want welcome to Chief Galagaza. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I hope he has a great run and doesn't have to work too hard tomorrow night. That would be nice if firemen don't have to work too hard tomorrow. Also, the Bakersfield Dome, which is on Union-ish, it is going to be demolished. Do you remember the Bakersfield Dome? I mean, when I was young, I think nobody was there ever except for skateboarders. But it was a boxing venue. And other entertainment style venues. If you wanted to go to a great, what are those parties called where people take ecstasy and lights flash?
A rave.
Yes, the Dome was one of those places. Not that I would know personally because I've never actually been to the Dome. I just know it's sort of historic. It's been around since the 1940s. It is going to be demolished to make room for an extension of the Mesa Verde Detention Center, which is on Union Avenue. It's down the way from the Dome, so that's interesting geographically. But the Mesa Verde is kind of I think it's a private / public. Or taxpayer-funded, what do you call it? Well, it's taxpayer-funded, but detention center for inmates. And so there you go. Mesa Verde is going to expand into the Dome. Have you ever been to Mesa Verde?
I can't say that I have.
It's amazing. There, I said it. Do you know what it is?
I have no idea.
Cliff dwellings.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's in Colorado, and you drive windy, way up into the, like clouds are below you. And then you climb down, I kid you not, you climb down a ladder, and you end up in these caves where homes were built. And by the Anasazi, they assume. And it's really actually very, very neat. And the view is great. However, if you're me and you're scared of heights, not so much fun. I've been there twice or 3 times. The 3rd time I just sent the boys. I said, I'll be here in the car reading when you get back. But it's pretty neat. If you've never been to Mesa Verde, I recommend it. Anyway, back to the Dome. It's a 1,650-seat stadium at the corner of V and 22nd. It is now in escrow, and they expect it to close within 60 days. So there you go. The Dome is gone. So I don't know if that's good news or bad news. For some of you, I'm sure there's a lot of memories in that place. So it's probably sad news for you at best. How about, by the way, I'm rambling for the next hour and 10 minutes. How about these soccer players in Thailand?
Oh,
Is that how amazing this story is? They've been stuck in this cave now for like 10 days, right? And they're aged 11 to 16 years old. It's a rite of passage sort of thing that you walk to the end of the cave and you write your name on the wall, and then you walk back. Not during monsoon season, you don't. So the coach and his 25-year-old soccer coach and the team are stuck in this at the end of this tunnel. They're all alive. They've been able to get food to them and light. I don't know what they're using for toilets. I don't want to know. Maybe there's a dark place in the cave. A darker place in the cave. But they've got food being brought to them or sent to them. But what's interesting is, we've got America, Australia, Britain, China, all joining with us in trying to help rescue these boys. And the SEALs have taken the lead. Of course, because they're ours and they're bad butts. Excuse me for saying B-U-T-T. And so what they've figured out is that they can scuba dive to the place to take stuff to the kids, but they can't bring the children out unless A, they wait until monsoon season is over in November, or B, they teach every one of these kids how to scuba dive. Now, I just think this is amazing. This should be a movie. It really should.
In about 6 months, it will be.
In about 6 months, it will be. It will be. Trapped. But it's crazy. I'll talk about that when we get back because I find it very interesting. I hope you do as well. And if you want to chime in, as always, we welcome your comments at the website at Kerncast, on Facebook. We're also on YouTube.
Yes, we are on YouTube.
Excellente, excellente. All right, kids. We'll see you in a second. Bye.
At the time you were arrested, you were served with a DS-367 temporary driver's license. It's good for 30 days, but if you don't act within 10 days, at the end of those 30 days, your license will be suspended. It's important for your lawyer to contact the DMV for you. Set up a driver's license administrative hearing so that your license does not go into suspension. That's something here at Braemar Law we do for you.
Your home is perfect. Until it's not. We understand that life has its changes. As your family grows, we're here to help grow with you. Because taking care of your family is important to you and important to us. Your story starts here with Cornerstone Mortgage.
I choose Patriot Bail Bonds.
We choose Patriot Bail Bonds.
We choose Patriot Bail Bonds.
If the best criminal attorneys choose Patriot Bail Bonds, who would you choose?
Patriot Bail Bonds. We fight for your freedom.
Patriot Bail Bonds has the best customer service in Bakersfield. Patriot has more 5-star ratings than any bail company in Kern County. Plus, we're fast and affordable. If you run into the law, make Patriot Bail Bonds your first call. That's right, one call, that's all.
If you're in jail, call Patriot Bail.
Having a grand old time with you. Wanted to finish the story about these kids in Thailand, 11 to 15-year-olds or 16-year-olds. 30 American SEALs have been working on trying to rescue them. And here's the thing. I don't scuba dive. I've been on a shark dive. Have you ever been on a shark dive? I have. Oh yeah, my oldest Solomon, who comes in and out of this office, he once interviewed Vice President Dick Cheney. When Vice President Dick Cheney was vice president, my son interviewed him on the phone. And when he went to junior high and they asked him for the most interesting thing he'd ever done, he said it was shark diving. So there you go. I guess the vice president wasn't as impressive to him, but he did take scuba and to get himself his license. And it took weeks and weeks and weeks, maybe months. And then at the end, you have to go and actually go into the ocean and scuba dive. And so this is going to be really interesting if they are to teach these young people to scuba dive, because of two things. One of them is there are some places that are so narrow that even the Navy SEALs have to take off their oxygen tanks and push them in first and then go in after them and reattach them. And secondly, some of these kids don't know how to swim. Now, I don't know how you can reach 11 years old and not know how to swim, but there are children in this group, and they might be the older ones too, who do not know how to swim. So this is going to be really interesting. They're going to live, if they don't get dysentery, they're going to live, but how long are they going to live in that at the end of that cave or tunnel or whatever it is before they can be rescued? It's absolutely amazing. How long were those guys in? Was it Rio? No, where was it? They were down in. Remember, it was Central America, wasn't it?
I want to say Costa Rica.
How long were they down there? Or was it? No, it wasn't Cuba. How long? They were down for a really long time.
They were down for weeks.
They were adult men, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about kids. Yeah. So, and what? No computers, no cell phones, no games. This is abuse, I tells you.
There's no Wi-Fi.
They've been separated from their parents. By water. Yeah, I'm sure there's no Wi-Fi. So I just think it's an amazing story. The sea levels are going to rise until November. So teach them to swim, or keep sending them buckets of Kentucky Fried Chicken, and you know, whatever else you can, until I wouldn't want to eat soaking wet Kentucky Fried Chicken. That wouldn't be good. But it's already soaking in something, grease. But anyway, good for the Navy SEALs for being there. It's yeoman's work. It's if that's the right term. They're heroes, to say the least. And they will get these kids out. One way or another, they will get these kids out. I really liked this story out of California. You know, we've got San Francisco, which we talk about a lot in this show, and we talk about it because they so affect our state. They have such a lead in our state, and yet they are such a mess. They win everything they want. I mean, they will have Gavin Newsom as their governor if it's the last thing they do. And this is a man who's already violated federal law and state law when he was mayor. And he's a socialist, and the people who have followed him are also socialists. They want to be a sanctuary city, fine. They want to charge high rent so that people can't afford to live there, fine. They want to give out needles, free needles, to meth users and allow themselves to be a city of freedom of speech all the time unless you're a conservative, fine. But what's happening is this year, a major medical association that attends conventions in San Francisco I think it's every 2 or 4 years, they've pulled out. They said, sorry, we don't want to be in your town. Our members are afraid to walk your streets. You know, I believe that New York went through this before Giuliani came on board as mayor. I think it was a pretty dangerous place to be in Times Square. A lot of nudie stuff, a lot of drugs and all that. I've 9/11 and Times Square is pretty cool. Loud, a little too chaotic for me, but still pretty cool. And so I'm guessing that's what's happening here in San Francisco. And this is not the only group, but I loved the way the article started. This is about Valley Public Radio. Did you know we have a Valley Public Radio? I guess I knew. I mean, there's NPR. This is VPR. But according to them, this is their article. Oh no, this isn't the article. This is another article by somebody else that wrote this. In a move that is alarming San Francisco's biggest industry, a major medical association is pulling out of conventions. They've been going there for over 30 years. But I love this. In a move that is alarming San Francisco's biggest industry. Really? Really? When you guys were all sitting around planning to bring in conventions, were you saying to yourselves, and you know what, they are just going to love all the meth use and the needles and the feces on the streets. They're going to love this. This is tourism. I mean, what are they thinking? How can they be alarmed? This can't be new to them. They had to see this coming. And it's really pretty gross. I was reading today also that I believe it's down south. There have been maintenance workers or groundskeepers who have been fined. Their organizations that they work for have been fined by OSHA. I want to say it is because the workers. Oh no, this is in Sacramento in our capital, because the groundskeepers don't want to clean up all the poop. Mm-hmm. They want to touch it. Have you seen that? They don't want to touch the poop.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, and the Capitol, I mean, it's so beautiful, and there's this huge park around it. You know, it's all just beautiful green and trees everywhere, and people pooping. And the groundskeepers have been fined, or their bosses or their organization has been fined, because they say, look, we didn't sign on to be feces scoopers. Not a human feces anyway. And so that's. You got your capital of the state. You've got San Francisco, one of the most populous states, if not the. No, LA probably is the. And they've got all these liberal policies, and they want to force them on you. Look at this. We've got an upcoming November ballot measure that if you and I agree to, we will be paying. We will be buying a bond, or paying, we'll be cashing out on a bond, whatever it's called that we do, a bond measure, that will fund. Doing things for the homeless. I plan to vote no on this, adamantly, quickly, probably twice. Because think about this. The biggest cities, and the LA, San Francisco, and the nation's capital, with all of the money they have for these programs already, and with all of the homelessness that they have already, they've exacerbated their own problem. They've spent more money, granted, and they want more of yours. Do you think any of that bond money is going to come to Kern County? It's going to be spent up there and down there. And they're still going to have homeless people because they're idiotic liberals. No offense to my liberal friends. Your policies are ridiculous. They're ridiculous. They remind me of this book that my dad had once that I read about education. And it had a horse, and the horse was dead. I think that's kind of isn't that like a cliche?
Something
Kicking a dead horse.
Beating a dead horse.
Beating a dead horse, okay. And the horse represented whatever the problem is. And at first they try, pushing on the horse doesn't get up. Then they start demanding, horse doesn't get up. So they start throwing money at the dead horse. And this is like cartoons that were drawn on this. They're just throwing money at the dead horse. It continues to be dead. So why would you vote for a bond measure that is not going to trickle down to us? It's only going to help those cities to do worse with the problem that they have. And I don't know what the solution is to homelessness. I think it will always be among us. It always has been. But I actually think that our policies, our laws, our regulations, and the cost of living in California has only made it increase. We have more homeless people. And if you're a homeless person, wouldn't you rather be in sunny California than someplace where it's 32 degrees at night? So I mean, my sweet guy that I love so dearly, former guy that I love so dearly. The homes he owns are directly 1 block from the ocean. And guess where would you hang out if you're a homeless person in Santa Barbara? Hang out at the park by the beach, and that's what they do. They even have church services. They usually don't cause any problems, but there have been some, and Santa Barbara just encourages it. Of course, the people who are wealthy that vote for these regulations and rules and policies that keep the homeless down by the beach are the very people who live way up in the Riviera, up on mountains where they can see the ocean, but they don't have to deal with the messy stuff. And let's face it, San Francisco's the same way. You got people with a lot of money who don't have to worry themselves about what regular blokes have to worry about just walking down the street. So I have no sympathy for no sympathy for San Francisco whatsoever, and I love that they're alarmed. Really? You really didn't see this coming. You really didn't. What?
Yeah, I was saying there's actually two parts of San Francisco.
Right.
There is the Fisherman's Wharf,
where illegal immigrants
the financial district,
where Kate Steinle died.
The financial district, all that, near the ballpark.
What's the Embarcadero?
The Embarcadero.
Okay.
It goes right from the freeway to Fisherman's Wharf, right by the ballpark.
Straight shot.
And that's where a lot of the homeless hang out.
That is awesome.
And
do you know I stayed at a hotel one night? I stayed at a hotel there for 2 nights. Do you know how much it cost a night in the Embarcadero? $400.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And there's homeless people outside?
Yeah.
I didn't pay for it, by the way. And it was $100 to park.
But the interesting part is that the further you go toward the beach, toward the ocean, not a lot of homeless. Mm-hmm. Because that's where a lot of the expensive houses are.
Yeah, they're not there for the view.
No.
I've never been to Golden Gate, the park. There's a park, right? Yeah. Golden Gate Park. Where is that? It's in San Francisco.
I want to say it's right near the bridge, obviously.
Yeah. But they have concerts there and all kinds of stuff. But I think they also have a high number of homeless people as well. Also, by the way, if you want to get into San Francisco from the north, it's now going to cost you $8 more than it did last Friday. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what it cost, what the toll was before, but I know that it's $8 more now. I don't think going into San Francisco is worth that much money, to be honest. Then you got to pay for parking. Then you got to dodge human feces and needles and risk being mugged. So again, no sympathy for the very alarmed tourist industry in San Francisco. This medical association, as I said, has been going there for 30 years. It says, we're sorry, we can't do it. When our people are afraid to go outside. Now, I have family that lives up there, and you've lived up there, and my uncle will post pictures on Facebook of these wonderful little bakeries that they go to, and cathedrals that they go look at the stained glass, and I assure you my uncle and my aunt would not go to a place where there was feces and needles. So I'm sure it's not all of San Francisco, but you're right, it's probably more elite sections. Yeah, and they would hang out in the more elite sections.
Well, I mean, it's perfect for the homeless because if you're going to beg, why don't you go to the place where all the tourists are going to be, where all the money is.
Yeah. When I was a kid, the first time I ever went to San Francisco, I remember there were people bumming, but they were mostly like playing the guitar with the guitar case open, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And now we're talking about mental illness, we're talking about drug use, we're talking about theft, we're talking about poop. So, yeah, go if you must, go if you will. I have no, just go to Berkeley. It'll be a shorter walk. You'll still see the poop and the needles, but you won't have to roam as much or catch a train or anything. You can walk Berkeley. So that's what and there's a great pizza joint in Berkeley. All right, we're taking a break. Are we taking a break?
Yeah, about another minute.
Oh, we've got another minute. Okay. Well, then let me set us up for this. While we're in Northern California, we'll take a little step from east of Sacramento to the small town of Dixon. Have you ever heard of Dixon?
Yes, I have.
Small.
Very small.
I think it's like 18,000 people, something like that. Does that seem low?
18,000 seems like a small town to me.
Yeah, it does. I have not yet been to Dixon, California, but their vice mayor wrote a column, an opinion piece, if you will, about fairies and and how he resented that gay people get an entire month and straight people don't. I'm not going to say that I sign off on the terminology he uses. Certainly not going to say that I sign off on, I don't care if there's a heterosexual month. I don't care. I didn't know it was Gay Pride Month. I was still straight the whole time, so it didn't matter to me. But they're trying to recall him now. Gay groups, whatever gay groups are, LGBT organizations are trying to recall this vice mayor. I will share the story with you when we get back from the break. It will require me to put my glasses on again. I know it's not a gorgeous look, but it's the only way I can look. So we will be right back on this day before 4th of July. We'll be right back.
I choose Patriot Bail Bonds.
We choose Patriot Bail Bonds.
We choose Patriot Bail Bonds.
If the best criminal attorneys choose Patriot Bail Bonds, who would you choose?
Patriot Bail Bonds. We fight for your freedom.
Your home is perfect. Until it's not. We understand that life has its changes. As your family grows, we're here to help grow with you. Because taking care of your family is important to you and important to us. Your story starts here with Cornerstone Mortgage.
At the time you were arrested, you were served with a DS-367 temporary driver's license. It's good for 30 days, but if you don't act within 10 days, at the end of those 30 days, your license will be suspended. It's important for your lawyer to contact the DMV for you. Set up a driver's license administrative hearing so that your license does not go into suspension. That's something here at Braemar Law we do for you.
Well, hello. Welcome back. My United States of America earrings tell me that we're closing in on the 4th of July, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful 4th of July. My favorite in the last couple of years was 2 years ago. I was at Shaver Lake, and we were on a boat. And they had their own, because of the fires and stuff, they had their own, organized fireworks show. And I just want you just sitting on the boat, just bobbing up and down, just watching all those fireworks. It's spectacular, so much fun. And I hope you have a great time with your family and friends, barbecuing and whatever it is that you do. All right, so this story caught my attention. I just wanted to share it with you. Gosh, we might be done early today. I might be blowing through stuff faster than I should.
Really?
Yes. Oh, I do want to mention this about the Supreme Court. I woke up this morning, as I normally do, turned on the news, as I normally do, and the conversation has been the same since last week. Who will be the next SCOTUS member of the Supreme Court? Who will the president pick? And, I mean, what's silly about that to me is that he's going to announce it on the 9th. And tomorrow's the 4th, so we've got, 7 days before he announces? Just go on with other news. I mean, all they're doing is conjecture right now. It's driving me nuts. Have you watched any news, Goose?
I've watched some, yeah.
And now Judge Napolitano comes on to tell us what he thinks about the mythical...
I don't go that deep.
And now Judge Napolitano is going to host, and his guest will be me, and I'll give my opinion about it. And then the both of us will host another show later where we're both going to be our own guests, and we'll talk about it. I can't. But I did recognize something this weekend as I was seeing what hyperbole liberals were using, especially about Roe versus Wade on this issue. And here's what I think that they fear. Liberals view the Constitution as something you can take whiteout to. Well, they do. And this is true with theology as well. I found this to be true my entire life with the Bible. People who don't like what it says just get their whiteout, they write in whatever words they want, and voila, that's what God wants for me, or that's what the nation, how the Constitution should be. And so they, instead of the Constitution defining how we should operate as a country and how government, how we should be protected from overbearing government by the Constitution, liberals view the Constitution as something that is constantly changing. You can rewrite it anytime you want. Now, we do have amendments, but the people vote for that, not judges. And so they view it as something that's living and breathing, all the time changing. Its meaning changes from day to day. The intent, who cares? And so, of course, they're scared to death about a constructionalist or constitutionalist being chosen, another one being chosen by President Trump, because they think we operate the way they do, because that's the worldview they have. The truth is, whether we win or lose, conservatives, people who love the Constitution, we actually believe, win or lose, as long as it's interpreted right. You know, if that's what the Constitution says. And one of the conversations I saw in an interview was about gun control and abortion. Oh my goodness, gun rights are going to increase and abortion is going to become illegal. Women are going to be criminalized, all this stuff. Look, the reason why our gun rights have never been taken away, sure, in California they're slipping away quickly, but the reason that we continue to have the Second Amendment rights is because it's in the Constitution, and even the liberal judges know that. Abortion is not the same. There's no constitutional, there's nothing in the Constitution that speaks to abortion. And of course the argument is right to privacy. I'm sorry, it doesn't work for me, but that's just me. So, but I'm not a Supreme Court justice. So what I would say to my conservative friends, I said this on Facebook this weekend too, is that we need to be patient with our liberal friends. They're freaking out because they're afraid that your favorite Supreme Court justice is going to do to the Constitution or do to their laws what they've done to the Constitution. They might reverse some of the things that liberal judges have done because they weren't constitutional, but if it is constitutional, it's gonna stay. There's nobody who has said we must overturn Roe versus Wade, and there are pro-life judges on the Supreme Court right now. Clarence Thomas among them, Sam Alito, I believe. Scalia was, but none of them have said, as soon as we get a quorum, we're going to overturn Roe versus Wade. Now, if it ends up in their court and they have to look at it again, juxtaposed to the Constitution, and they find that it is unconstitutional, well, then that's them doing their job. If they look at it and they say, oh yeah, absolutely, right to privacy, this totally makes sense, that's their job. And I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of people who look at the Constitution and interpret it as the founders intended and come to a conclusion. I'm not even afraid of it if I lose. And I have lost. I've lost on Proposition 8. I thought they were wrong about that, but nonetheless, that was their decision. I lost on health care reform under Obamacare. That was their, I guess, position. Thank you, John Roberts. And, you know, I really do recommend, there's this terrific book that Mark Levin wrote. It was his first book, as far as I know, called Men in Black. And it's about the mistakes that the Supreme Court has made along the way. Most of them racially motivated. Ferguson versus Plessy versus Berg.
Can I get you some water? Wait, you already got something to drink, right?
Maybe if it were spiked. Well, it is with lemonade. But a lot of these rulings that, for instance, continued slavery or denied people freedom, those weren't justified by the Constitution. And it's a great book, Men in Black, if you get a chance to read it. And yes, I have my own personally autographed copy. What?
We've got a lot of comments, so
we're trying
to keep up. Talking about the fireworks tomorrow.
Yes, fireworks!
TJ Esposito, our beloved leader, wants to know, is there going to be a firefighting drone flying around tomorrow?
One would think. Do you know what they're using in Fresno, TJ? They are using their, and we've adopted this. We've decided we're going to buy this, but I don't think we have it yet, though. What's it called? In Fresno, they have that thing that allows them to identify where a gun is fired in seconds. That's how they caught that guy who shot you remember the guy who shot the people outside of the Catholic Charities building, and the PG&E guy on his first day at work who died? So sad. I just get chills. But I forget what it's called, but it's a program that enables the city to know where that gunfire came from, like to pinpoint it. And Fresno's going to use that for fireworks. Which I think is going to be a lot of work. But what did TJ say though? Is it going to be
drones?
Drones.
Yeah.
They'll be shot out of the sky by bottle rockets. Come on. I hope not. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't want anybody to be hurt. I don't want anybody to modify fireworks. I don't want anybody's house to catch on fire. But that is such a rarity. It's such a rarity, and it's a shame that we have, limited the number of people who can sell, buy, or use fireworks. It really is a shame. It really is. Again, I won't be using them myself.
The beautiful Kelly Gladden.
I love that woman.
Loves your lipstick.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. I haven't whitened the old teethers lately. I should have.
Greg thought you would be out on the lake somewhere.
Greg, I was a couple of years ago out there at Shaver, but no, I'm not out on the lake. Look at how pasty I am. I can't even go outside. It's too hot.
And finally, Gabriel says, "What about Genesis 1:12?"
Which one is that?
I'd have to look it up, but I think you were talking about abortion. Same-sex marriage?
There you go. I don't know about that. 1:12, that's pretty early on in the Bible. Let's see. Boy, my phone has all kinds of things on it. I don't know what they do. So, Genesis 1:12, huh? I hate it when people do this in church. Use their phone or their iPad as their Bible.
Hold on.
I'm totally a
Genesis 1:12.
I'm totally a open your Bible kind of gal. Genesis 1:12. All right, let's see what Gabriel wants us to talk about. The earth produced vegetation. You want to talk about weed? This is the stupidest argument for weed. And I'm going to tell you why. Because there are mushrooms that grow from the earth that will kill you in 5 seconds. There's a main staple in Africa, in parts of Africa called manioc. If you cook it, it's perfectly healthy. If you eat it raw, you will die. Grows from the ground. Let's see, what else? There's certain pits in fruit. I believe loquats fall into that. That you will die. So the whole it came from the earth thing, find another argument. I don't disagree. Smoke all you want. Buy it all you want. I don't care. But don't use the Bible to justify it because it's the stupidest argument I hear. Every time I hear it, it makes me nuts. It's so ridiculous. Am I done?
And it came from the earth.
Yeah, exactly. God made sex too, so therefore I should have it with everyone. Have you seen the new commercials? Well, come on, baby. It's from God. Have you seen the commercial now where they have like men, transgender men, and like one woman who says, "I'm on the pill." Have you seen that commercial? I'm on the pill.
Yeah.
I'm on the pill. And it's got that transgender with the purple hair. Yeah. It's some like pre-prevention for AIDS that you take to keep yourself from getting HIV, but you still have to use all the other cautionary products. Commercials are getting better and better all the time. But yeah, just because something anyway.
For a minute, I thought you were
Don't
talking
eat
about
those mushrooms out of the garden.
I thought you were talking about the one where it was like the woman was walking around and she's like, Did I forget my pills?
I hate that commercial.
Poof.
And she goes, I hate that commercial because the first gal is saying she's out on a date, right? Or on the couch or something. Uh-oh, did I forget to take my pill? And then she remembers she's taking some product. She's got some product, inside her body that is working for the pill instead of the pill. And then they got the second woman who's putting her luggage on the thingamajig to go through at the airport. And she's going, oh no, did I forget my pill? And I'm thinking, where are you going? What are you planning to do when you get there? You're leaving home to go somewhere else, and you want to make sure you've got all your prophylactics covered. That's just odd to me. That's just me. Have you seen the Chevy commercial where, I think it's Chevy, where the guy says to the couple, you've been together, 3 weeks? Yeah. Well, here's the car when you move in together. I'm like, doesn't anybody get married anymore? And here's the one for your 5 kids. Gee whiz. Hate that commercial too. Don't get me started on commercials I hate. Oh, and there's one for Sprint right now that I really hate. And if you can find it and show it to people, you'll be my best friend forever. It's a guy's driving on the road and he sees hitchhikers. And he picks them up. And they're robots from like the I Am Robot.
I have seen that one.
They look like what was that Will Smith movie? They look like that robot. He's like, so where are you robots going? And the female robot says, we have to alert people that Sprint has the lowest prices ever. And then the kid robot says something like, because it's going to be goings, gones. And every time I watch that commercial, I go, what does that mean? And what I decided today, I was talking to Richie about it. I think what I decided was they must have like bought the rights to those robots for Sprint, and then said, now what do we do? We got to use them. You know, it's kind of like the new Roseanne Arnold show without Roseanne. You know why they're doing that? Because they signed a contractual agreement. They got to use all these actors for something. That's why sometimes you see really good actors in really bad movies. And I know you know that, huh? Well, they contracted with Warner Brothers to make 6 films, whatever those films are. The first one's great, the second one's great. By about the third, you're going, why was he in that? Because he's finishing his contract, right? Am I right?
Well, there are a lot of different arguments about why.
Green Lantern.
Why? I won't get into that one.
Yeah, no need.
No, there's a whole list of actors who got contracted to do a film or something. Is that me? That was me. They're forced to do a movie for whatever reason, and they hate it. And some of them won't even go out and promote it.
Yeah, exactly. So you think, why did that wonderful actor sign on to do such a terrible movie? They didn't. They were bound to it by contract. So that's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing that Sprint said, gosh, we own these stinking robots. What are we going to do with them now? So they turn it into a stupid commercial. All right, very quickly, because I see my friend Tracy Leach outside in the office, and we're going to talk about oil.
Nice.
Yeah, it is nice. But this is it. A recall effort and a protest is in the works after the vice mayor of Dixon, California, penned a column calling for the celebration of Straight Pride American Month. He was being stupid on purpose, I think. And expressed what some are calling hateful rhetoric against LGBTQ community. Published Friday in the Independent Voice, Dixon Vice Mayor Ted Hickman said, by the way, I went to his website. Hunting, fishing, more hunting, and more fishing. That's what this guy does. Published Friday in the column was called "That's Life." Drew criticism for a number of statements. Hickman referred to gay people as Tinkerbells and fairies. Called Gay Pride Month LGBTQFWTF month. That's terrible. It's just terrible. While implying LGBT folks have an inferiority complex. Hickman attempted to preface some of his comments in the column by declaring that this is not really legally anti-anything, but is instead pro-family. And him expressing a private opinion, he wrote in the column about his support for Straight Pride American Month. He calls it spam. Which is currently published on his personal website. So anyway, what's happened is a bunch of people have decided they want to recall him. I looked up the city charter because I wanted to know, do they, in the city charter, is he elected to a ward like we have here in Bakersfield, or is it more like a pick 7 names and those 7 become the city council? I don't know. I couldn't find any information on that. But we can ask Tracy about how this works. We'll ask Tracy about how this works in the next hour. But anyway, what did he say? Now hundreds of millions of the rest of us can celebrate our month, peaking on July 4th as healthy, heterosexual, fairly monogamous. Fairly monogamous. Did I forget to take my pill? Fairly monogamous. It's better if he's going off the rails. Keep our kinky stuff to ourselves, Americans, Hickman wrote in regards to spam. So we honor our country and our veterans who have made all of this possible, including for the Tinkerbells, and we can do it with actual pride and not some put-on show just to help our inferiority complex, blah, 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 blah. So people are very, very, very offended by this. And all I can say is this: freedom of speech goes both ways. a lot of liberals, I'm not saying the same liberals, came to the defense of one, what's her head? What was her name? In Fresno State. Yeah, that's it. Who not only said horrible things about the former First Lady, Barbara Bush, but she also said things about heterosexuals, about white people, about killing conservatives and farmers. And she's allowed to do that. And she's a professor who's paid for by your tax dollars. So I just think we need to get a hold of ourselves. Gay people are not sacred cows. You're not. And if somebody's an equal opportunity basher, then that's just life. Get over it. Get over it. But it'll be interesting to see if they recall him. I doubt that they will. All right. Let's take our top of the hour break. We'll come back with my friend Tracy, who I love so much. And that's what we'll do. If you've never seen Tracy, but you've heard her on my show, now you get to see her. She's much prettier than I am. She's totally put together, too. Probably has a tan. I'm going to smack her. We'll be right back.
Introducing the new California State Penitentiary Bologna Sandwich. Jail food sucks. Don't let your family eat jail food.
At the time you were arrested, you were served with a DS-367 temporary driver's license. It's good for 30 days, but if you don't act within 10 days, at the end of those 30 days, your license will be suspended. It's important for your lawyer to contact the DMV for you. Set up a driver's license administrative hearing so that your license does not go into suspension. That's something here at Bramer Law we do for you.
Your home is perfect. Until it's not. We understand that life has its changes. As your family grows, we're here to help grow with you. Because taking care of your family is important to you and important to us. Your story starts here with Cornerstone Mortgage.
Headed.
I need to tell humans to switch to Sprint now. I heard they can get 4 lines of unlimited for $25 per month per line with a 5th line free.
We have to hurry because this deal is gone, baby.
Switch to Sprint before July 12th and get 4 lines of unlimited for $25 per month per line with a 5th line free. And for a limited time, get a Galaxy S9 for 50% off with Sprint Flex Lease.
Well, hey there, hi there, ho there. Welcome back. I'm Inga, back here in the beautiful studios of the Bakersfield. Actually, the studio, no, it's good. But the Bakersfield Music Hall of Fame is a spectacular venue. I would have a wedding here, or at least a reception, were I you. So I absolutely love it. We've got my friend Tracy Leach with us. She's from Providence Consulting, correct?
Yep, that's right.
How's things going over there?
Things are going, they're hopping at Providence.
Are they?
Absolutely hopping. Yes, we have an awesome little team.
You do have an awesome team, and they don't just you don't do a lot of, you don't do candidates, right?
No political campaigns, just a lot of marketing and advertising and public affairs work, like for the oil industry.
Yeah. Did you catch the article? And I thought I had it in here, but I might have missed it. I might have not kept it up. But did you see the article the other day about the? Isn't that great? That's Uncle Sam. Like, I brought it in, and one of the girls at the entrance said, "What's his name?" I said, "Well, I like to call him Uncle Sam. Wow, that's cute.
It's very original.
Yeah, really. But anyway, I can't find the article now. I should have found it earlier. But it was about how we are actually behind other states in terms of cleaning the air. In fact, we're getting worse per capita.
Cleaning the air?
Yeah.
Or importing energy. Because we do a lot of that too.
Yeah, we do.
Two-thirds
yeah.
of what we need, we import because we're usually trying to do something silly like ban it here. So yeah, that's working spectacularly well.
But it's not.
No,
we're not clean. The air is not getting cleaner.
No. Weird. I thought taxes would solve all of that.
You would think with all of their cap and trade.
That's what they told us.
That it would be. Yeah, that's what they told us. And also, what else did I find in here? I found that another study just came out, or research came out that I read about yesterday. That unbelievable. The policies about energy, oil, electricity, all that hurt the working poor and the middle class. And that's what we've been saying.
We've told them that over and over again.
And people might ask, well, how? How doesn't it affect the rich? Because on my Facebook page, somebody said, it affects all of us. If I had $1 million right now, I'd live in Bakersfield and I'd live off the interest. But I don't, and so it's not that there's a class thing or anything. I celebrate their $1 million, but you understand the point I'm making. There are people who are driving cars because it's the only car they have and it's unacceptable by state standards. Right. There are people who live in houses that are unacceptable by state standards.
Yeah, they got wood burning fireplaces, old cars, all those things. Sure, yeah, that's the working class. That's the working class.
Yeah.
They don't have the McMansion with the solar panels and all the gadgets and gizmos that make them somewhat independent.
Right.
No, they're dependent on fossil fuels largely.
They are.
While their elected officials try to ban them.
Because it doesn't hurt them. I always go back to that To California's piece that Victor Davis Hanson wrote, because I just thought it was like 7 or 8 years ago, but I thought it was so great because it was about how all the elites in California who pass the laws don't have to live by them. And they don't actually expect very, very poor people, especially in immigrant groups, to abide by them either. So people like us end up being the ones stuck with the bill.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, absolutely right. It's 100% right. And I don't see any turning of the tide yet. I'm waiting for it. We've got the gas tax. People will have the opportunity to repeal it in November. But that's the same type of regressive tax. It punishes the poor and the working class. So will they stand up finally and say, I've had enough?
Right.
We're tapped out. Can't do it anymore.
Meanwhile, the bill to bring us to 100% carbon-free energy has hit the Senate, I believe, again, or been introduced again. It's Kevin De Leon's bill.
Oh, awesome! Should be great. It shouldn't be expensive at all.
Shouldn't be. Well, what happens if it goes to 100% renewable? Does that mean that somehow I'm going to get subsidized solar panels on my house, or?
God, I don't know. I haven't read his ridiculous bill, but it terrifies me.
Yeah.
Plus, it's just so short-sighted. People just want to talk about fuel and they're talking about renewables. But this entire room is loaded with petroleum products.
Right.
This microphone, everything
this
in
cord
here.
right here.
Yeah, everything.
My fan that keeps me.
Where's that all
keeps
gonna
a
come
middle-aged
from?
woman happy.
I want to know where that's coming from, but it isn't going to be made domestically because we're going to have banned it.
It's always.
But we're still going to want these products.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to need them.
Absolutely.
Healthcare, everything. We need these products.
Yeah.
So it's just ridiculous.
I think that the minions who work for the liberals on these things, and I'll just make it a big pool because there was a UFW protest the other day. The UFW type, all of those activists who show up at the meetings, I don't think they have half an idea what they are doing to themselves when they're supporting these policies.
That's true. I think that's true. A lot of times when we're working on projects like this where we're trying to promote oil and gas, we're trying to promote those jobs and making it here and keeping the tax revenues here. We see those crowds you're talking about, and honestly, a lot of times we feel sorry for many of them. I think they're being misled. They're being lied to in some cases because we've listened to it and watched it.
I've been a useful idiot before.
That's tragic. That's tragic. Some people are clearly getting paid at the top of the food chain, and they get it, and they're being manipulative. and not being truthful with people. But others we watch, and they clearly do not have a clue what they're talking about or what the end result would be.
It really bugs the crud out of me when I hear commentators talk about even the leaders of these movements as being sincere. I really don't think they can be. I mean this. I don't think they can be sincere. How can you, knowing that what you're fighting for is going to hurt jobs, going to hurt the people that you're standing up for, but it's going to make you money? How do you sleep at night?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. I am sure there are people who sincerely believe what they're doing without any understanding of the result, but others know darn well what the end result will be. But they're getting very well funded to pursue that agenda, and they're going to pursue that agenda.
And the people they're suing in a lot of these cases are us.
Yeah.
The taxpayer. So they're not stressed out about it. You know, I met Franklin Graham when he was here, last month, and interviewed him, and I loved his comment that, like the school districts, when the Dolores Huertas of the world sue a school district, you're paying for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The poor person who's standing up for Dolores Huerta is paying for that lawsuit. I mean, how ridiculous is that? It's ridiculous. So let's go to Arvin.
Yes, Arvin, good old Arvin.
Yeah, what's going on in Arvin?
Arvin is updating their oil and gas ordinance. So that seems like a fine idea. They originally wrote an ordinance in 1965.
Oh, well, then it might be time to,
Yeah, it's been a few years. So, the premise isn't a bad one. But they rolled it out without any notice last November, I think, and on the industry, completely unsuspecting. And it read like a virtual ban, and that's what we called it. Because it was. Because if you make setbacks and other requirements so onerous that you can't actually drill a well, it's a ban.
What kind of money does Arvin get out of the money?
That's a good question. It's a tough question because there's not a lot of oil wells, and we think around a dozen current oil wells in Arvin, which isn't a lot. There's tens of thousands in Kern County.
Right.
But of course, they're in Kern County, so to try to act like they're in some sort of bubble, they're not. They benefit. They are served by Kern County Fire. Their schools are funded by property taxpayers in Kern County.
Okay.
9 of the top 10 property taxpayers in Kern are oil companies. Won't surprise you because you're informed. But they benefit from all that. So yes, sometimes the mayor chastises, well, how many oil wells are right here in Arvin, a few feet from City Hall?
There'd be more if you'd let them.
Yeah, exactly. There might be more. But so we've made a lot of changes to it, pushing back as we have on him and his attempts. And at first he tried to chastise folks who came and protested for calling it a ban. Now in the last week, the mayor of Arvin, Jose Garola, has trekked up, I assume in a car, to Sacramento
with rubber tires on it.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, nice.
I'm sure that was involved.
Nice.
And to call for it, he just said it. He wants a ban on oil and gas production.
Who is his? Can you tell us? I mean, I don't know if you can, but who's behind this? He didn't just wake up in the morning and say, I think I'm going to lose money for my community.
Yeah, no, I think that would be terribly naive to believe there are not some powerful forces behind him, and I don't know which ones, but it's my suspicion there are many. He seems very tight with a number of anti-oil groups. Very prominent anti-oil groups, including Center for Race, Poverty, and Environment, the beloved CRPE. They're great. They're awesome. Those kind of groups he's quite close with, and that's he demonstrates that both in public and online, his relationship there. And Center for Biological Diversity,
another wonderful
all the
one.
Environmental justice organizations. There is obviously a lot of simpatico there between the mayor and them, but not so much with business people and job creators. No.
So back to my question about sincerity. Do you think he's sincere in believing that if he bans these oil, these wells, that his community is going to breathe better? I mean, Arvin has the worst air quality.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
Yeah. And you can't blame it on 12 wells.
No, come on. No, that's silliness. You cannot. But no, I think he's a very ambitious, very young man who is politically ambitious, and I think he sees this as his path forward. I don't agree with that. I think it's a terrible position for anyone in Kern County. This area, even if you look at it more liberal, Democrat parts of Kern, they're still represented in the legislature by Andy Vidak and David Valadao in Congress. So that's still a really risky, some might say crazy position to stake out in Kern County, the largest oil producing county in the country, that you ought to ban this product that we all depend on and we need badly. And then particularly, as you said, started out, Arvin is a largely poor community, very below the median income, and many people live below the poverty level there.
Yeah.
So to go and ban fossil fuels, it's unaffordable for that community that he purports to represent.
I remember some months ago there was a bakery that was shut down in Arvin because people who thought they were raisins in the bread were actually cockroaches, just walking out in the open. Yeah, they got things to worry about out there.
Oh, yeah, it did work out. I did not know about that.
Oh yeah, that was a gross one.
The people of Arvin, they deserve better. This is a poor community. And this young fellow is already driving that city into bankruptcy. They are close to it. They are poor. They're broke.
Are they giving people all the wonderful amenities? They can't even afford their $few thousand for their parade in Christmas time. They have no current city manager that I know of. The police chief is filling that role. Wow. Something to that effect. And it's tragic. It's tragic. They ought to be better served by their government and by their representatives than this guy. And he needs a lot of maturity and a lot of wisdom and information, because he clearly doesn't have it. One of the things that politicians have done, or not just politicians, but these organizations have done in the past, is they sort of leverage, say with the oil industry or with ag, they'll leverage what am I trying to say? Green mail. I think that was a term I learned from you. They will leverage your hopes and dreams for the sake of financial or political gain.
Sure, goes on all the time.
So they might even love the wells. They might even love the income that the wells bring in. But if they can just squeeze out, just wring out a couple more pennies, so they throw a big fit and they say, we want it all banned, we don't want any of it, and then the industry comes along and says, no, we'll give you more, we'll build you a school, we'll da-da-da-da-da. Right?
So do
you sense that here?
There's some machinations going on? So we're back to that. I don't know.
I've seen it happen before.
Yeah, and to be clear, green mail is actually when labor does it.
Oh,
but I mean, a lot of people feel like the environmental movement, many of the folks we started out talking about that are a lot more manipulative and agenda driven, have taken that template and do use it, where you say, oh darn, it's an abuse of CEQA, which is a California Environmental Quality Act, but you tell the XYZ developer or company that you're damaging the environment when actually you just want them to use all labor, union labor for their project. So you purport to care about the environment, but you actually don't give a lick about the environment. You want them to only hire. Yes, so what you're talking about is using that issue to force a company to behave the way you want them to behave. And CEQA has been notoriously abused like that for decades now. A lot of people want it reformed. That's what they're talking about, is that kind of gaming of CEQA.
But outside of the union green mail, this can also happen, correct?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm aware of many projects that, yes, you're right, they got paid in some fashion by an environmental group in these cases coming up and saying, oh, we're going to sue you, we're going to stop your project dead in its tracks because of your harm to the environment, when actually behind closed doors they're negotiating some sort of deal for themselves and something lucrative. Typically, so yeah.
Nothing new under the sun. I mean, look, you've got politicians. Most recently, one of the most disappointing votes was Tony Cannella. State Senate, who voted for did he vote for the gas tax? I think he did. He voted for the gas tax. He's a Republican up there in Modesto or wherever it is. And we all know he's termed out. He wants a legacy. He got $500 million or something like that for some roads project. Right? So he sold his own district out because he wanted his legacy. It'll probably be named after him. And it's so disappointing. So politicians...
Usually they get some sort of job for life on some board that's
We've
useless.
known those people too.
That happens too.
We know a couple of people
been going on for a long time.
Yeah, we know a couple of people who voted for tax increases and suddenly found themselves on a high-speed rail board or employee retirement, state entire retirement.
This was so unexpected.
It's so gross. It is so gross. All right, let's take a break. Come back, find out what we can do to help our neighbors in Arvin, or maybe you are in Arvin, to push back on this. I mean, look, do you want the income coming in or not? Unfortunately, if the revenues are coming in and the mayor's still using them for, because you said he's bankrupting.
Oh yeah, Arvin's broke.
And then maybe I'd rather them not get the revenues. All right, we'll be back with Tracy Leach from Providence Consulting. We'll be right back.
Your home is perfect. Until it's not. We understand that life has its changes. As your family grows, we're here to help grow with you. Because taking care of your family is important to you and important to us. Your story starts here with Cornerstone Mortgage.
At the time you were arrested, you were served with a DS-367 temporary driver's license. It's good for 30 days, but if you don't act within 10 days, at the end of those 30 days, your license will be suspended. It's important for your lawyer to contact the DMV for you. Set up a driver's license administrative hearing so that your license does not go into suspension. That's something here at Bramer Law we do for you.
Well, hello, welcome back. It's the Inga Barks Show here from Blue Sky Media, Comcast. I was feeling really good too. I was like on it, man. Kerncast. And here from the beautiful Bakersfield Music Hall of Fame, my friend Tracy Leach with us from Providence. They can find you online at
provconsult.com, but you can also look up kerncitizensforenergy.com.
That is what I recommend. Because if you get on the mailing list, you get information about what's happening. And that's
so you know what's going on with oil and gas.
Yeah, in Kern County. It's really good. I have to just take a little side note just for a second because I told the audience that I'd ask you about this. This vice mayor in Dixon, California, wrote an op-ed in the newspaper about how there should be a Straight Americans Month. He called it spam. And he called gay people fairies and Tinkerbells. And there's a recall effort that people are trying to gin up, a recall effort against. Now, he meant it in humor. And when you read it, it is pretty outlandish. You'd have to go, this is absurd on purpose.
Oh.
Having said that, people are upset and they want to recall him. So I tried to look up their city charter, which I couldn't find. But in these smaller towns, 18,000 people in Dixon, to your knowledge, do they vote, like in Arvin or in other places as well, do they vote for just 7 people who end up, or 6 people who end up on the city council, or do they
if it's that small. I'm not familiar with Dixon.
I'm not either.
Without looking it up. But yeah, typically, yes, you vote, they're at large still, they say is the term. So you would vote for, in Arvin, for example, this November, they'll vote for 3 of the 5 city council spots. Mm-hmm. Just 3. It's not by a particular part of the city, because it's so small.
Like how we used to choose the high school board members.
Right. Used to, until they carved it up and made it by district.
Thank you, Dolores.
Thank you. My district. And it's Bakersfield's so large that we have districts called wards.
Right.
But you're right, in small towns, you vote for 3, one cycle, and then 2 years later you vote for 2. Okay. And then you vote for 3, 2. They alternate the 5 city council members every 2 years.
So depending on how they organize it, which I'm guessing is probably the at-large, because there is 18,000 people.
Yeah.
They'd have to get a certain percentage of those 18,000 to sign on, right?
Yes. Do you mean to qualify an initial recall? Yeah, whatever is in the city's documents it describes how to run a recall, which it should be available, but whatever.
I didn't know I was looking.
It's a percentage of the electorate they'll have to get, and so the city clerk would tell them how many signatures they have to get and how they're everything has to be exactly correct though. A lot of these efforts have gone afoul because they didn't exactly have the petition legally done the way the city tells them to do it.
I don't think they're going to get the signatures, to be honest with you.
Yeah, really? I don't know anything about Dixon's politics.
I don't know anything about it either. When I read the op-ed piece, I was like, "You're nuts! You're nuts!" But he was making a point. So anyway, yeah, he just used some bad terminology.
Wow.
So tonight, Arvin.
Tonight, 6 p.m. in Arvin.
That's how you do the night before 4th of July.
I know. Who doesn't want to be in Arvin on July the 3rd at the city council meeting?
There's some decent restaurants.
Yeah, there are. Yes, but you have to be a serious nerd to want to go to the city council meeting on July the 3rd. But we are nerds. So there's that.
We are nerds.
We are total nerds. 6 p.m., city council there will be having the first reading of this ordinance, as they call it. So we will all have the opportunity as a public, as citizens in Kern County, to speak up and talk about this ordinance and what we find wrong with it. There have been a lot of changes made to it, and we're hopeful that it's tolerable and doesn't take anyone's property rights away from them.
Right.
Like I said, there's little tiny companies there. This is not big oil. These are small mom and pop operators.
Hi, how many of those are left?
Yeah, very few. It's tough, as you can imagine. California is extremely tough. And so for Arvin to layer on, this is the most regulated industry, and in California they are the most stringently regulated, arguably in the country, easy to argue. So for Arvin, it's Arvin. They don't even have a city manager or a city attorney. For them to layer on regulations as if they know something about oil and gas production, which they volunteer that they don't, that they would have to hire out expertise, so then the poor operators would get to pay for that. So Dogger, and that's the state agency that regulates oil and gas, and many, many, many other agencies already regulate oil and gas, so for them to layer on more is just ridiculous. But we've been trying as an industry to make enough changes to keep these folks in business and not harm their business. The few jobs that are there.
Yeah, if they want an all-out ban, though, then what matter does it make?
Yeah, it's tricky. He's got his ordinance, the mayor does, and
does he want to negotiate from there? Is that what's going on here?
I don't know. I think we have actually made some substantive changes to the ordinance. We'll see what is presented tonight and make sure of that, because again, it is tough when you're negotiating with government and across the table he's saying no, we don't want to ban the industry, and then he traipses up to Sacramento and gets his face on TV to say I want to ban the industry. So how can you trust the person that so believe me, the industry, we will watch this ordinance carefully, because there's a trust issue there for sure.
California falls 44 out of 50 in the states in patriotism. 44 out of 50. I love that.
That's sad.
What percentage are we of oil producers in Kern County?
Nationwide?
Yeah, nationwide.
We are the #1 oil producing county in the country. Yeah, #1.
I mean, why would you want to go?
#1.
Why would you want to go against that?
I don't know. We should be proud of it.
I'm proud of it.
Extremely proud of it. Yeah, we have a great, rich history in oil production in Kern County. It's wonderful to hear about from a lot of the folks who have been around a long time.
Yeah,
it's
well, and if you're new to Kern County, there's the Black Gold thing at Pioneer Village.
County Museum. Kern County Museum on North Chester. It's super cool.
Pioneer
it's
Village.
A little dated, but it's totally even Pioneer Village. Village.
We did third grade.
It was the best.
So that's good. Well, I hope that if anybody watching us today is from the Arvin area, that you might consider going to the meeting.
Yeah, you deserve better.
What?
If you're from Arvin, you deserve better.
Man, I just think
should be better.
I don't think, I'm not a laissez-faire gal. I understand we need things to be regulated, but good gravy. However we can make money, we have a city in Bakersfield anyway that wants us to vote for a tax on ourselves on the same day that we vote down the gas tax.
Yeah.
Because we don't like taxes, and we're going to help the homeless. We're going to help the whatever. What did I give you? Did I not give you money already? money, and that's how people in Arvin should be feeling right now. Have we not given you money, and now you're wanting us to have less money to work with?
Yes.
At a time when you're spending more money than that's just ridiculous.
Or on the same night that they came after the oil industry with this really bad ordinance that would ban the industry, they voted in favor of pot. The same night.
And the argument was for revenues?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They did not get the irony at all. Didn't get it.
That is awesome.
Totally lost.
That's just awesome. I love you, Arvin. That is terrific. That is terrific. All right. Again, people want to go to Kern Citizens.
KernCitizensForEnergy.com. Check it out. We got all the information there about Arvin, and we keep you up to date on oil and gas. Our goal here is to defend the thousands of people in Kern County who depend on our oil industry, and that's our objective. So please, KernCitizensForEnergy.com, check it out. We are here to protect and preserve oil and gas production.
And remember too, when you see those intimidating crowds, like I went to a county supervisor meeting 2 years ago, and I was supposed to keep my mouth shut and I didn't. Sorry about that. But the pro-oil people packed the house and into the lobby. The anti-oil people packed the house, but they were bussed in. They were bussed in from like San Francisco.
Yeah, all over. Santa Barbara, Santa Monica.
Don't be intimidated by those crowds. There was a rally, I think yesterday or the day before, where, according to the Valley Public Radio, there were 1,000 people at the Liberty Bell for keeping families together, and it was all put together by the UFW. And all I can think of is UFW has fewer than 4,000 members in the first place. 1,000 people showed up in Bakersfield, and they were all Bakersfield residents. No, I'm sorry. So it gets intimidating, but don't be intimidated. You're on the right side. So if you're out there in Arvin, you haven't decided if you want to go to the meeting, you don't have to speak.
No, don't have to speak. Showing up. Lots of people just show up just to be there and sit with the industry, with business people, with local business people. Our even school board members are on our side. They get it.
They should be, because they
understand
benefit.
it. They totally do. Yeah. They understand that, how much the industry funds their schools.
Yeah. I would rather say oil funded my schools than pot. Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with it.
Wrong with that.
But I think I'd rather teach the kids.
Yeah. You'd think we should be teaching about our proud history and embrace it and say, yeah, we made all that stuff. You're welcome.
Exactly.
You're all welcome.
Tracy Leach, it is so good to see you. I hope we'll have you on again.
Sure. July 17th is our final vote on this issue. So you have another chance if you can't go tonight, because it is almost the 4th of July. July 17th is when the council in Arvin will vote on it as a final ordinance.
Very good. Very good. I also want to remind our viewers, I'm so used to saying listeners, our viewers and listeners. I listen to the TV, I don't really watch it, so I can still say listener, I guess. But if you are interested in a sponsorship of one of our programs on the station, you get advertisements, there's all kinds of stuff, great things that you get, and it costs, the price is so minimal. You're going to want to go to Kerncast, and there's a little shopping cart up in the top corner, and you hit that shopping cart. It'll give you your choices, and I'm telling you, it's not expensive to advertise, but there's a whole lot of people who are going to see it. So with that, I thank you again, Tracy, my friend.
Yeah,
didn't you and I take a picture once with Dolores Huerta in between us?
No, did we?
Yes, we did.
I think we did.
And
I think we did.
What's his name? Photobombed us.
No, that was the
Joel
Tommy
Olson.
Lasorda picture.
He also did it with the Tommy Lasorda picture. Joel photobombed us.
Joel does a lot of photobombing.
He does. Yeah, you and I sitting there with...
Is he stalking us?
I think
Should
so.
we make a call?
That was a great picture, too. I take very few good pictures. And we're sitting right next to Tommy Lasorda, and there's our friend Joel.
I know.
Yeah.
We need
All right.
to talk with him.
We do need to talk with him. All right, kids, and on that, be safe, be sober. I say go for it with the fireworks. You know, I said earlier, I think it's a sound of liberty, and just don't set my house on fire. That's all I ask. Otherwise, have a great time. And we will
Seems reasonable.
Is that a reasonable request? I think it is. And so I look forward to talking to you guys again on Thursday. And Goose, thanks so much for getting us through. Appreciate it. See you guys later. Bye.